Today on the CTV News at 5, big changes to employment insurance.
Implication is that people are lazy and don't want to work. And I think that's a very unfair message.
And repeat claimants will be hit the hardest. Plus, CP Rail employees continue to walk the line over proposed pension cuts. And what to expect at this year's Whoop Up Days.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. It will soon be tougher to collect employment insurance. The federal government proposed new rules today that will require claimants to look harder and further for work and to accept lower paying jobs. Roger Smith reports.
Seasonal workers who repeatedly claim employment insurance to get them through the off-season are a prime target of the government's crackdown. Their benefits could be cut off if they're unwilling to take a lower-paid job. But the Human Resources Minister insists the changes are good for the unemployed.
We want to help Canadians who want to work get back to work.
The new regulations create a sliding scale of demands on the unemployed. After 6 weeks of benefits, frequent claimants must take any job that pays at least 70% of previous earnings. Less frequent claimants have up to 18 weeks to look for work in their own field before broadening their search. No one will have to accept a job more than an hour's commute from home, and skilled workers won't be expected to flip burgers at a fast food joint. Still, Finley says the aim is to match the unemployed with unfilled jobs.
Well, this is going to impact everyone because what we want to do is make sure that the McDonald's of the world aren't having to bring in temporary foreign workers to do jobs that Canadians who are on EI have the skills to do.
The unemployed will get 2 emails a day about job openings in their area, and they'll have to keep records to prove they're actively searching for work. Critics accuse the Tories of scapegoating the unemployed.
Implication is that people are lazy and don't want to work. And I think that's a very unfair message.
Well, the government won't say how much money will be saved by reducing payouts. It expects only about 1% of the 500,000 people on EI to be cut off for refusing to look for or take other work. Roger Smith, CTV News, Ottawa.
Speaking of job action, day 2 of the CP Rail strike saw dozens of local protesters move their protest into Lethbridge. Local rail workers carried signs near the rail crossing at 9th Avenue North. They began protesting at the KIP rail yard yesterday. The group says they're against proposed pension cuts, reduction in retirement health benefits, as well as increased work hours. Government officials say if CP Rail and the government can't come to an agreement soon, the government could soon issue back to work legislation as early as Monday. Local picketers plan to protest outside MP Jim Hillier's office tomorrow morning. Nearly 200 workers in the Lethbridge area are some of the 4,800 rail workers striking across the country.
We support it 100%. We're supporting the union 100%. This is our pensions they're talking about. This is our livelihood. This is 12-hour work days instead of 10.
While the strike has shut down freight service across the country, the manager of the North Lethbridge Canadian Tire says they aren't affected yet, but could be if the strike continues next week. A CP shipment was delivered to the store just yesterday, and the manager doesn't expect another shipment until next week. Rossiter, still below average temperatures, and that's going to carry through right into next week.
Yeah, it really is Tuesday when we start to see temperatures rising above what our average should be for this time of year, which is 20 degrees. So although we are going to be seeing some sunshine over the weekend, I don't want to paint it totally doom and gloom that it's nothing but rain. We will be seeing some sunshine, but we just won't be in the 20s until we get back into the work week next week. And I'll have all the details in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. Well, the family of a man stabbed to death near Coleman in 2009 say that they are pleased the man who killed him will be serving jail time. Derek Plord was convicted of manslaughter in George English's death and sentenced to 5 years behind bars. English's family says while they wish it could have been longer, they are happy to finally have some closure. Kayla Carr reports.
There are hugs and tears outside a Lethbridge courtroom as the family of a murder victim celebrates what they're calling closure.
we're going to have to start healing and carry on with our lives.
Marvin English's brother George was stabbed to death at his cabin near Coleman in September 2009. English and his friend Derek Plourde got into a fight after Plourde found his wife in bed with English. Plourde was originally charged with second-degree murder but convicted of the lesser offense, manslaughter. The Crown was asking for a prison sentence ranging from 6 to 8 years. The defense wanted 4 to 5. Justice Jim Langston handed Plourde 5 years behind bars.
We expected something like this, a sentence that was going to fall in a range of somewhere between 4 and 8 years. And so it's not a surprise that we have this sentence. He still maintains his innocence, and we're contemplating an appeal at this time. I don't know if that will be an appeal of just conviction or of sentence.
Well, 5 years for a life is pretty cheap, if you ask me.
Marvin English says he's surprised by the sentence, but admits that no amount of time will ever bring back his brother.
I don't know whether a life sentence would make me happy or the 5 years. I'm just grateful that it's over and that the healing process can begin now.
The English family says what hurts them the most is that they don't believe Plourde has showed any remorse for what he did. But defense lawyer Greg White says his client will have to live with guilt for the rest of his life.
Doesn't mean that he admits that he's guilty or that he did anything wrong. He still maintains that this was either an accident or self-defense, but he's carried the burden that his family has suffered, that Steve English's family has suffered.
White says it's been difficult for everyone involved, something the English family can agree with.
It's hard for all of us, both sides of the families, I guess. You know, we've not only lost a brother, but on Derek's side, they lost a father too.
Kayla Carr, CTV News, Lethbridge.
A collision in the Crow's Nest Pass has taken the life of an 86-year-old man and sent 6 people to hospital. The accident happened Tuesday afternoon when a truck pulling a travel trailer tried making a turn off Highway 3 into Blairmore and collided with a vehicle coming in the opposite direction. The driver of the truck, an 86-year-old Blairmore man, died at the scene. The 6 passengers in the other vehicle were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Lethbridge Regional Police are warning Southern Albertans, especially seniors, about another scam. This time after an 80-year-old woman was bilked out of a large sum of money. It's called the casino scam. Police say the senior sent the money through Western Union after getting a letter in the mail from Gold World Casino saying that she was the beneficiary of $2.5 million and she just needed to send $2,500 for processing. Well, the woman sent several money transfers to people in both BC and Ontario. And a man is crediting his dog for saving his life after his apartment caught on fire. It happened last night inside this complex along 11th Street South. Fire investigators say an unattended candle below the combustible material sparked the blaze. The man was sleeping as his apartment filled with smoke, and his dog's barking woke him up, and he was able to escape with only minor injuries.
If he would have had a smoke detector that worked, this would have never got to this point and he would have made it out safely. It was a very sad situation when we have to go to a fire and someone doesn't make it out because their early warning detection systems don't work. So the Lethbridge Fire Department and Fire Prevention is asking all citizens, if you own or rent a house, please make sure that your smoke detector works.
Damage is pegged at around $15,000. Old Man Power is proposing construction of a Lethbridge Energy Centre in the Northeast to support economic growth and to help meet the growing demand for power in the province. An open house was held last night for area residents to ask questions and voice their concerns on the proposed natural gas-fired power generation facility. The land is already zoned for this type of use and is located inside the North Side Industrial Park. The plant would include a 130 megawatt clean natural gas-fired power generation facility, something that they feel is badly needed in this part of the province.
Oh, I think so, definitely. When you take a look at Lethbridge, the amount of generation here is there's not a lot of generation in the immediate area. This plant will make the local supply situation more robust, more tolerant to upsets and that sort of thing.
If the project gets the green light, construction is slated to begin in 2013. A traveling educational zoo, the reverse bungee, and some international musical artists are just a few of the things you can look forward in this year's Whoop Up Days. This afternoon, local media learned about the details of this year's festival while practicing their carnival skills. This year's lineup of entertainers includes Aaron Lyons, Bon Jovi, and AC/DC tribute bands, as well as Kim Mitchell. There will also be a hypnotist, a freestyle motocross rider, and of course the rodeo. Whoop Up Days will kick off with the parade August 21st and run until the 25th. Organizers also unveiled the identity of this year's honorary parade marshal, Master Corporal Melissa Whitegrass.
I'm very honored to have been asked to be this year's Whoop Up Days Parade Marshal. I grew up in this area all my life.
Whitegrass is a member of the Royal Canadian Artillery in Lethbridge, and you may recall back in May of 2010, she was driving in a convoy that was attacked by a suicide bomber in Afghanistan. Whitegrass was able to maneuver her vehicle and avoid being hit directly. 6 soldiers and 12 civilians died in that attack. Now, on the financial front today, stock markets across Europe remained steady. Despite increased fears, Greece is teetering on the brink of a chaotic exit from the Eurozone. Here are the closing numbers.